serving the community through faith and athletics. The Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Good morning, everyone. This is Andrew Roberts with the SWAC Communications Department. We will begin our coaches' teleconference at this time, but before we bring our first coach on, we would like to take this opportunity to recap your scores from Week 2 and also announce Week 2 Player of the Week. Running down the Southwestern Athletic Conference scoreboard for Saturday, September 7th, Memphis defeated Southern by a score of 55-24. University of Arkansas Pine Bluff defeated Alabama A&M by a score of 52-34. Louisiana Tech defeated Grambling State 20-14. Houston over Prairie View A&M 37-17. Incarnate Word over Texas Southern by a score of 63-44. Alcorn State over Tuskegee by a score of 38-31. Alabama State over Tuskegee. Alcorn State over Mississippi College by a score of 45-0. South Alabama over Jackson State by a score of 37-17. And Lamar over Mississippi Valley State by a score of 23-20. Now looking ahead to Week 2 Player of the Week honors for the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Offensive Player of the Week award goes to Alabama State's wide receiver Michael Jefferson. Jefferson had a career day for Alabama State in a 38-31 victory over Tuskegee. He caught 5 receptions for 174 yards, including 3 touchdowns. The touchdown passes were of 19, 43, and the game-winning 82-yard reception in the fourth quarter. For his efforts, Jefferson was awarded with a helmet sticker on College Football Live. Defensive Player of the Week from Mississippi Valley, number 1, defensive back Tracy Tompkins. For the second time in his career, he reached 15 tackles, which included 13 solo stops and 2 assists against Lamar. The total was a game high between the two teams, and he currently leads the SWAC with 27 tackles on the season. Specialist of the Week from Arkansas Pine Bluff, kicker number 47, Josh Pawinska. He scored 10 points, making all 8 of his extra point attempts in the Pine Bluff Golden Lions win over Alabama A&M. He was 7 of 7 on point after touchdowns, and he made his only field goal attempt of 30 yards. And Newcomer of the Week, also from Arkansas Pine Bluff, wide receiver Harry Ballard. He had a career high in receptions with 5. He had 140 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. With that being said, we would like to begin with our interviews for our coaches. We welcome to the call from Alabama A&M Coach Connell Maynard. Coach Maynard, if you would please open us up with the opening statement about your team's last outing against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah, we played Arkansas Pine Bluff here at home, and we knew they was a much improved football team from a year ago from watching tape on them. Coach Thomas is doing a great job with those guys down there, and we knew they'd be hungry to come out and with a lot of fire early, and they did. Yeah, they scored on the first drive, third play of the game. They had a busted coverage, and they scored, and we went down and scored, and they came back down and scored, and we went back down and scored, and they kicked the field goals. A lot of points scored in the first quarter, like it was going to be a shootout, and we had Brian Jenkins pulled his hamstring and kind of had a little letdown there from the offense. He's the heartbeat of our team and our offense, and so we kind of had a little letdown there, and they stretched the lead on out to 17 points at halftime, and then they came out and did a sky kick and recovered it and scored and stopped us and scored again and kind of got the game. We got away from it 31 points at that point, and we kept fighting and closed it at 17 and had a chance to close it at 10 right there with 9 minutes left in the game. We went for it on fourth down and didn't make it. But we couldn't stop them. They did a great job offensively, had over 600 yards on us, and they ran the ball in, threw the ball on us. And so we got to go back to the drawing boards and get some stuff worked out and figure this thing out. We just got to take them to the woodshed. Coach Thomas did a great job.
Coach Maynard, if you could just talk a little bit about your team defensively, looking at Arkansas Pine Bluff. They were able to have some success in the rushing game. What did you see that they were doing that, if anything, was causing your team issues?
Well, it was just, I think, we can't take nothing away from them. They ran the inside zone for most of the part. We just didn't have some good fits at times. When we had some good fits, we was able to stop them and hold them 2 or 3 yards. But when we had some bad fits, guys in the wrong gaps, they was able to gash us. So they got a great running back. He led the conference in rushing last year. So and he rushed for 200 on us this year. And you can't let him get to that second level. He's dangerous. He can take to the house. And they just did a good job of scheming us, and we weren't able to stop him.
Coach, offensively, you did have success throwing the ball for 352 yards. I know you said Jenkins went down, and that kind of obviously affected what you guys were able to do offensively. But if you could just speak on, just the play at the quarterback and your receivers.
Well, they played well. Aquil Glass played well again. I think he was 30 for 43 or something like that, 350 yards passing. So he played well. The other receivers stepped it up. Jenkins went down, but, we don't make excuses around here. That's just one player. Nobody's bigger than the team. He didn't stop the offense production. We scored 30-some points and hit over 450 yards of offense. That wasn't the reason we lost the game because Jenkins went down. We lost the game because they outplayed us. They was ready to play, and they played harder than we did. So offense, I told the guys on Sunday, we need to score 53. We scored 32, I think, 34, but we need to score 53. We got to score how many it take to win the game. So we didn't play well enough offensively because we didn't win the game. We didn't score enough points. So, you'll never hear me make an excuse. You'll never hear me make an excuse about getting beat. We got to get better. I got to do a better job, and we got to do a better job scheming. We got to make more plays, and that's the bottom line, man.
Coach, before you get off, if we could you preview your upcoming opponent? You'll travel to face North Alabama.
Yeah, North Alabama got a good program. Coach is doing a great job there. I think it's his 3rd year, and they got a good football team. It was a good game last year. They beat us 20-25 last year at our place, and now we got to go to their place. They coming off playing I'm looking at the tape. Montana. They played very, very, very well the first half. Evenly matched game. They was flying around making plays in a hostile environment on the road. Montana probably had 40,000 people in the stands, and they did a super job the first half, and then the game kind of got away from them there the second half. So it's enough for the best team we played so far is this week, UNA. So we got to play a lot better than we did last week, or we could have a similar result.
We will now get ready to speak with Alabama State head coach Donald Hill-Ely, and the Alabama State Hornets defeated Tuskegee at home by a score of 38-31. With that, do we have Coach Ely on?
Yes. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you so much for jumping on the call. Coach, if you would please talk a little bit about your team's big home win. I know it was a festive environment there in Montgomery, but your big win against Tuskegee.
Well, great win for the program. Tuskegee, hats goes off to them. Played a hard-fought game, a traditional rivalry game as always. Sellout crowd inside, the largest crowd that we've ever had to witness the contest, 27,000 plus, probably roughly another 10,000 outside in the tailgate area all around. So it was a great game for our community, but more important, a great win for our program to be able to get down as we had before and hadn't recovered, but now we found a way to recover. The guys stayed into it, made 1 or 2 more plays in Tuskegee, and was able to get out of there with a win.
Coach, we announced earlier on the call, Michael Jefferson, wide receiver for you guys, had a big day. He's the Offensive Player of the Week for the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Big plays, obviously the 82-yarder, none bigger than that. If you could just speak to us a little bit about what you saw from him during the game.
Everything that we expected that he would become when we recruited him out of Mobile. Big, tall young man, 6'5", 210, 15-pound wide receiver. Has all the characteristics of a Randy Moss, great ball skills. We played them in 4 games last year so that we could redshirt them, but get them some opportunity to play and use that rule to our advantage, and it paid great dividends. Anytime you get a young man to go out and demands a double team, whether it's by speed or by height, we know that you got to come in the ball game and you got to play that kid, which now helps us in our running game or helps other guys get open. It was, just for him to go from, a guy that not even being known in the program to a nationally known person as they announced it on the air. It just says a lot about the development of our young folks and also the development of our student athletes here at HBCU.
Coach, good morning to you. Ty Miller calling. I want to ask you about Kennesaw State. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing about Kennesaw, Ty, and good morning to you, D. The thing about Kennesaw is, we're going against a team that has gone to the quarterfinals the last 2 years and won the Big South, ranked number 7 in the country. They do extremely good job offensively, defensively, and the special teams. One of the things that happens is they minimize the opportunities you get offensively. From Kent State, even over to their first game that they played, Point University, the offense is only average having the ball 55 snaps. So you got to definitely take advantage of those snaps that you have offensively. And then, with triple option, you don't stop it. You slow it down, and you try to put it in a position where you're taking the ball out of the best people's hands. Well, they're number 7, in the country, and they play a good brand of football. Team beat us by more than 50 points last week. We got a big gap to close on a short length of time. But we'll be ready for the contest.
That offense led by David Daniel, their quarterback, he ran the ball 27 times this week. So defensively, is it all about assignment football when it comes to the defensive linemen and linebackers reading their keys with this attack?
Well, when you're going against them, it's not just reading your keys. You got to first get off the ground, then reread your keys. That team, the triple option is, they cut everybody at the line of scrimmage. So now you have to, coach guys to, not just shoot the gap, but how to get up off the cut and defend the cut. Now shoot the gap. I mean, it's a very extremely physical offense that they run, and it takes a lot of discipline to try to contain it.
Coach Few at South Carolina State, he talked about that a couple of weeks ago before they took on Wofford, and the guys no cut blocks are coming. So is it something they have to get used to? How can you do that in practice in terms of teaching them what to look for when it comes to cut blocking?
Well, you have to drill it in practice to help them to learn how to get the feet, their legs out of the cut block and how to defend the cut block. But, even with that, it comes through drilling and everything else. And you only see this kind of offense maybe once a season. So, unlike in that Big South region where you have 5 different teams running it, there's not too many HBCUs running triple option. So in our conference, there's none. And outside the conference, the teams we play, that these are the only guys that's running it. So, whatever you take from this game, you won't even be able to use as you move ahead. So going into everything that we've done prior to this point, you other than being in the right place, you scrap that, and there's a whole different type of defense that you have to incorporate.
Coach, getting them at home this week, how key would that be in terms of you look at the fact that you played UAB tough, you knew what you were going to get against Tuskegee, and now you get Kennesaw State at home, and it's got to be a measuring stick game, so to speak.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, you get an opportunity of not traveling but preparing, and then to get them in front of our home crowd. We had them here 2 years ago and ended up fumbling on the last drive and was unable to put them away. So, all those things, we want every ounce of advantage that we can have, and we definitely going to need it.
And offensively, Coach, what would be the key to putting points on the board against Kennesaw State?
Those same guys, your Jefferson, Hicksons, Kadarius Davis, and the offensive line blocking up front. If we can, put them in situations where they have to defend the vertical game, and now that opens up our running game with Bell and Ezra Gray. but we have to put them in a position where we're making the most out of our throw game.
Coach Hill, Illy, Donald Ware with Boxer Row. How you doing?
What's going on, my brother?
I'm all right. All right. So you likened Jefferson to a Randy Moss type. Then you had Titus Howard, last year obviously drafted in the first round. So can you speak a little bit to, recruiting and then the specific type of guys you're trying to recruit? And also, is Jefferson, is he also a pro prospect at this point?
Well, I mean, we feel that, our HBCUs, like I said, we as we recruit our guys, we feel that we can recruit those same guys that normally would go to your Auburns, Alabamas, and everywhere else. The only thing that we lack at this level is cost of attendance, being able to pay the student athletes. But, as we tend to lure more of those young men to stay at home and to play for our institutions, you'll start seeing more and more first-round draft choices. A kid like Michael Jefferson, every measurement that it says about NFL talent, he has, and he's just a redshirt freshman. So, there's a lot of stuff that has to take place before he gets to where Titus Howard is. But from what he's showing at this point, he's on his way. And, and then he has to continue to not just play at this area. He got to continue to dominate.
So just to tie again, as much as you can tonight, you're looking forward to seeing Titus in his first pro game?
Yeah, I talked to him and told him make us proud. I'm looking forward to him going out there, and they talk about how well this little HBCU boy is out there blocking them. So I'll be sitting back watching my boy tonight.
Okay, all right.
Coach, you touched on a little bit about the play at Davis at quarterback, but outside of Jefferson, obviously Davis's numbers stood out, 20 for 30, over 300 yards passing and the 4 touchdowns. How much of a progression were you able to see from him just over the last few weeks, even going back to your season opener against UAB and to your last game?
He's coming into his own. Again, another young man that's been in the program. He had a learning curve last year and actually started this game off, with an interception. And, just had to settle him down and get him to, to the point where he just relaxed and did the things that came natural to him, which was throwing the football on time and just to see him go, for that passing efficiency and for the yardages just speaks a great job about, his position coach, Coach Moncrief, came in, a seasoned ball coach that has been around, that's trained quarterbacks from Tavares Jackson and all those guys that can come in and see where a guy is and fundamentally make these guys sound and give them the poise that they need that goes with that position. So my hat goes off to him and the job he's been doing with all the quarterbacks and with Coach Blackwell, the offensive coordinator, for putting the guys in the right places and putting the ball in the right hands.
Coach, just one more question from me. The game-winning touchdown, the 82-yarder. What did you guys see something before that play call, or what did you see that led you to that call there at that point in the game?
Well, they weren't going to allow Bale and Ezra Gray to just run the football, and we were in a situation where their safeties had to decide: do you help out inside in case we ran Bale, or do you help out outside? And they chose to help out inside, and we were able to get the post over top of the safety.
Moving along to Alcorn State, where the Braves defeated Mississippi College at home by a score of 45-0, a shutout victory. We will now talk with head coach Fred McNair. Coach McNair, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Coach, if you could, first, good morning to you, and if you could please start us off with an opening statement about your team's last outing against Mississippi College.
Well, I thought it was a fair effort as far as the team-wise. I think we put out a pretty close pass to being a great effort, but we didn't play as solid as we should have. Opening kickoff, we received the ball, and we go 3 and out right off the bat, and that we can't do. We get the ball back in the first quarter. Nico Duffy, our freshman running back, he had a great game. He had 3 touchdowns on the night. One Steven. Johnson Bolton, he scored on a 2-yard run there in the first quarter. Come back in the Waller, he scored in the second quarter on a 22-yard run. Third quarter, we get a field goal in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, Noah Johnson throws pass to Nico Duffy there. And just on the upside, I think that, pretty solid effort by the defense. They played lights out, playing against a triple option, something we just can't get accustomed to in practice for the speed that we play during the course of the game. So that's going to always be an issue. Those guys cutting and all that stuff. They played a pretty close ball game up until the last possession in the fourth quarter. We give up a touchdown there at the end. Penalty wise, we crazy on penalties. There's some dumb penalties I thought that we can't have. Drive killers and also third downs. We did pretty good in third down situations, both offense and defense. Converting third down and getting off the field on third down. I thought it was good this week. So got a little more work to do. Gotta get these guys ready for this next game against McNeese State.
And Coach, I thank you for correcting me there. That final score was 45-7. You guys over Mississippi College. With that, we will open it up for questions for Alcorn State head football coach Fred McNair.
Hi, Coach. This is David Berry from the Lake Charles American Press. I know the team has had. The last time they played McNeese, it was a pretty good game. It kind of went down to the wire. I just want to ask, what do you think of McNeese this week? Have you already started preparing for them?
Yes, sir. We started preparing for them on Saturday night after the ball game. We always try to get an edge on our opponent, our next opponent. I tell you what, they got some dudes, man. They got a good running back. I think the quarterback Ogeron, he's a tough kid. He likes to run the ball and those things. So got our work cut out for it. Defensive wise, they up front they pretty solid. Cody Roscoe. They got some dudes up front, man. So we got a work cut out for us this week up front. So we got to play hard and got to play physical. It's a good ball club we're going to play. In their own environment, going to be hostile, and the guys got to know that we just can't make the mistakes that we've been making through the course of the last 2 ball games. So got to have our A game ready.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Good. Look, with respect to penalties, first game against Southern Miss, 7 penalties for 67 yards. This past game, 9 penalties for 81 yards, and you alluded to penalties and mistakes. What exactly is your method to minimize those mistakes, especially going into a contest against McNeese, which, you played up 1 week, you played someone who was below you the second week, and now you're playing against a formidable FCS foe in McNeese. What exactly do you do to try to minimize those mistakes?
Well, the biggest thing is, we got to be fundamental sound. I mean, a lot of the penalties coming over, we're overstressed. We're not using our feet. We're not running our feet, and things of that nature. And we get a lot of just dumb penalties. Guys out of bounds, and we pushing them out of bounds. It's not called for. We got a penalty this past week. The guy catches the ball, run the ball out of bounds, and guy 4 or 5 yards out of bounds, and we go up pushes him down. Those kind of penalties I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the hard playing physical penalties that we get. But of course we have to minimize those too. But just the dumb penalties that we call them, it's not called for. Excessive block after the whistle is a dumb penalty to me. You hear the whistle blow, stop. We are always trying to do extra. We can't afford to do that against good teams. So those kind of things that we have to minimize in penalty-wise.
Coach McNair, this is David Berry again. So this is your first FCS matchup of the season. I know your team you had the game against Southern Miss, and it was, it didn't go how you wanted, and you got like a a win against Mississippi College, but just how big is this just from a standpoint of FCS versus FCS might be one of the bigger games this weekend?
Oh, there's no doubt. No doubt. We played them 2 years ago, and we were just that close. Again, another penalty that we had on a punt. We jumped over the shield, and our returner returned it for a touchdown and got called back because of that personal foul there, So those kind of things that can happen. We just got to stress it harder and every day this week, about those things. Of course, this is a big matchup for us. Pretty much even, I think, talent-wise. FCS, we all recruit the same players, so we have a chance. So we just have to make sure that we're doing everything in our power as coaches to get this team prepared to play the way they should play. That's going to be the biggest thing, is putting forth effort and attitude the way we play this game this weekend.
Well, one last question from me, Coach. So far, McNeese, they've struggled in the pass defense. They lost the top corner in the first game of the season. Is that something that you see that you could possibly take advantage of? Because they've already given up at least, I want to say, 5 touchdown passes of 40 yards or more.
Yeah, just looking at them in the secondary. I mean, they're better than what they seem. I think. We're not going to disrespect any team that we play. We just got to go out and execute. And if our opportunity presents itself, of course we'll take advantage of it. I think they're like I said, they're a pretty solid ball club. And just how we play against them is going to determine the outcome of this ball game. So we just got to go and get ready to play against a good ball club.
We now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff, where the Golden Lions got a big road win at Alabama A&M by a score of 52-34. We will now be joined by head coach Cedric Thomas. Do we have Coach Thomas on the line?
Yes, sir.
Morning, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us. If you could please open us up with a statement about your team's win over Alabama A&M last weekend.
I thought it was a complete effort from the ball club. Coaches did a great job of preparing, a high-powered offense and running back. And Mr. Glass, as I addressed him last week, I thought they came out and kind of weathered the storm a little bit earlier. The guys got off to a fast start. Offense looked like we knew they would. You're dealing with Coach Main in that ball club. He's done a great job. In a few years, he's been there to get them guys to, play at a high level, with a winning season last year. And we trying to, do the exact same thing with this program. I just thought from offense and defense and special team aspect, it's probably one of our better games. But it started from practice. The guys did a great job of understanding the game plan and dealing with adverse situations when they reared their ugly head. That they was ready to play for the most part. Still got a lot of things we got to clean up. Coach Mack just got through talking about the penalties. We got 5 personal fouls in 2 weeks. And that's not the brand that we're selling. That's not the style that we're coaching. So we got to clean that up. Very disappointed from that aspect. But overall, just to see the guys' eyes and just look at them and to be able to just let them understand that when you do it the right way, you start to reap the benefits of your success. We failed a lot. But, like we talked about, the battle cry was, we're going to fail our way to success. But they're starting to do it the right way. And just for them to be able to reap the benefits of it, was always, always a good thing as we continue to build a culture. That A&M team, a good ball club, good feisty team, and never quit. Got a big stop right down at the end. They could have swayed the ball game a whole different way. They scored that one. Defense kind of bowed their neck and got a stop. So hats off to Coach Man and that ball club. Those guys continue to get better. But overall, since I've been here, it's probably one of our better complete games. Just got to clean up the penalties, and we'll take care of that tonight. We'll continue to get better going forward.
Coach, earlier on the call we announced Josh got Specialist of the Week and Harry Ballard got Newcomer. Can you touch on both of those student-athletes' performances this past weekend?
I see Harry do it every day. That's kind of why defensively we've gotten better going against him, since he got here. Great kid, just tough, sacks the ball at the high point, but just a good teammate, and like I said, he's made us better defensively because we got to go against one of the better wideouts in this league, and this whole league is a mass with those type of players. So, but just glad he's on our sideline. But he's just one of those cultural fixtures, guys that fit what we're looking for. Our trademark, and Zach, he having to fill big shoes with Jamie now on the next level, and like Coach Shetfield and the rest of the coaches. Been telling him just be the best Zach you can be. Don't worry about being Jamie. I think he's starting to come into his own. So we'll continue to get stronger and continue to do what's asked of him when it's time called. Just very excited about the way those guys played.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Harry Taylor, Arkansas Democrat Gazette, man. How's it going?
So I'm blessed. Everything good.
Good deal. Talk a little bit about Keyshawn Williams' performance this past Saturday. You're talking about a guy that's been out, missed the entire season last year because of injury, and after 2 games, he's actually performed well, particularly this past Saturday. So talk a little bit about his production and how he's come along.
I mean, just awesome. We had a chance to play against Keyshawn when I was at Alcorn, and we knew then what type of back he was, but I understand the bloodline. He's a special kid to me because he was in that dorm room when I was in school here. Me and his dad are like best friends, and that's my football brother. So to just see him, maturate to where he is now, we got in, he wanted to be a part, so bad last year, and I just told him, if you ain't 100%, from a psychological standpoint, out of respect for your family, I'm not going to put you out there. He just wanted to chomping at the bits to just be a part of, to come in and help me turn it around. And I just vowed to him and his family that I wasn't going to put him out there, but to watch him, work, and come out doing practice that whole year while he sat out and still be on the sideline and root his teammates on was really a blessing. We knew what type of back he was. He was an all-conference kid before he got hurt. And now, just watching him and Taylor just fellowship together and had that unselfish spirit, what he's doing now, may shock others, but, we've been seeing it for a long time. But just really, really enthused and really blessed and honored, and the success he's having, especially, doing this journey, because a lot of people counted him out, with that injury, and then all of a sudden Taylor had a year he has, and, he's kind of looking like, hey, Coach, I'm still here. And we never forgot him, but he was always behind the scenes working, busting his tail. You see him in the community running around, but just really excited for him and his family and just the city of Pine Bluff to have, one they can root for, especially, dealing with the adverse situations he's been through.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. How are you today?
I'm blessed.
All right. Look, congratulations on your big win. What are some of the key things that you're going to have to keep your team focused on, that you got this big conference win, that you're taking on Langston? On paper, it's going to be like you're playing down, but Langston is one of these programs that can sneak up and bite you. So what are some of the key things that you're having your team stay focused on for the mission ahead?
I can just pull all the NAIA and Division II schools we done lost in the last 4 or 5 years. That's just it. I mean, history repeats itself, and we feel like we're in position to count anybody like. We lost to Morehouse. We lost to a couple of schools in Oklahoma, years past, and some of these seniors, was on those teams. So we ain't in no position to take anybody like. We can't play anybody down. And that's on us as a coaching staff. We don't coach like that. We don't teach like that. And our kids ain't good enough to take anybody for granted. So, that won't be a problem. We'll handle that in-house. But, but we got some things, we're going to show them to say, hey, look, if you don't come out and prepare and put yourself in position to be successful, then we'll be crying when it's over, knowing that we might have let one slip away. And Coach doing a great job with that program, the historical, powerhouse on that level, and, plays Southern tough. So, we won't have to worry about getting them up. We've got to start with us. From a coaching staff, but these kids understand the reason why they're in position that they're in is because they work their tails off and they're doing things right. And now the football gods are starting to reward them for that success. But mentally, we'll be tuned in. We got a good ball club coming in here, and we'll be prepared.
My final question for you, Coach. I've noticed you speak a lot about the community and the environment and the impact that Pine Bluff had on you as a student athlete. How does it feel for you to see yourself being a part of helping to turn the culture around at your alma mater and get these guys to buy into their program that you're trying to establish at Pine Bluff?
Yeah, that's the most important thing to me, and you know, and how I feel about it. Just the fact that to be able to get these hardworking people, you know, the hard-hat community just to come and support us. You know, when we wasn't, you know, doing as well, but entrusting in me and this coaching staff that, you know, we got these kids' best interests at heart, and we're gonna do it the right way. And a lot of them, you know, not with us as we, you know, go along this journey, but you know, the ones that stayed, they reaping the benefits of it and continue to. So it's a, you know, it started with them. You know, those guys supported us. You know, as soon as the game was over, you know, we went over to the crowd and we did that. You know, in some of the games we lost, you know, just to let them know, hey, we appreciate it. We're not gonna always look like we look, and it's just gonna take some time for us to, you know, get this thing the way we want to. And the coaching staff has done a great job. But it's all about the community. You know, that's first. Them guys come pay to come watch us. You know, put the product out there, and we constantly telling the kids we got to put a product that is worth investing in. And that's what they did Saturday. You know, so just to see the community, you know, have a sense of pride, and these kids have a sense of endearment and pride towards them is, you know, really, you know, really what I really signed up for. Because, like I said, this place saved my life, so I'm forever indebted to be able to give them something that's, you know, prideful to them.
Thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck this week, sir.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm blessed.
Good. In looking at your offensive output from Saturday, 314 yards on the ground, 331 yards passing. You were also pretty balanced against TCU last week, similar numbers, even though you played up. But are these numbers a result of what your overall offensive philosophy is, or is this more of a case where you're just simply taking whatever the defense gives you?
It really just the mentality. You know, when you got two of the best running backs in this league, you know, they up there with the best of them, and them guys can take it 0 to 100 real quick. But now what we have is you got Harry and Deshaun on the edges that now, if you 8-man boxers, you know, them guys can win some one-on-ones, whereas last year, you know, we didn't have that double threat on the edge. You know, if you know, when you having to stop Taylor and take this rolling down in that course. So, you know, the offensive staff, you know, with Coach Gale, them guys do a great job of just, you know, one, taking what the defense gives us, but also, you know, he can be aggressive and say, okay, if you got, you know, 8-man boxes or if you're going to drop 7, you know, we still able to get some balls in some holes and win some one-on-one battles. But, you know, you got 2 running backs that, you know, Keyshawn and, you know, and his time in his league is, you know, get 2,000 yards, 1,500 yards, all purpose. And you saw what Taylor did last year. So that's a 1-2 punch. But, you know, Coach going to take what they give him, but he also going to, you know, he got the implementation part from an offensive standpoint to take what he wants, you know, based on those looks. And it always helps, you know, just from a recruiting standpoint to have Ballas, the Keyshawns and Taylor Porters and DeJuan Millers out on the edge to help. And the quarterbacks, those guys do a great job. I mean, the offensive line, you know, the quarterback took some shots, but, you know, didn't give up a sack. And, you know, offensive line is bringing 4 starters back that only gave up 10 sacks last year. So it's just a testament to the coaching staff and getting the kids in the best position to be successful.
And then looking at your squad defensively, granted you did win, but, you know, 464 yards you gave up that Alabama A&M was accounted for on offense. Is that something to be concerned with, or, you know, with them scoring 34 points? Is that something to be concerned with, or is that just a testament to A&M style?
You know, A&M, you know, I think they're going to score a bunch of points on a lot of people. And you know, we don't get caught up in yards. You know, yards don't make the scoreboard change. The points do. And you know, you can have all the yards you want, just don't get it in the box. But also, if you know, look at the game, you check, you got a personal foul, you know, that gets the ball. We got to kick it from the 20. They run it to the 40, and they score. You don't get a lot of yards for 40 yards, but you get 6 points because you got the ball inside the 40. And then we sky kick, and Bentley, you know, runs it back to the 40 again. So they got 2 possessions that they score 14 points, and they only got to drive 40 yards for, you know. You know, defensively, you know, we got to got to tackle the football, but good offensive athletes allow you to miss tackles, and we got to do a better job of getting to the football with a lot of hats. But we also got to get this field position flipped to where offenses don't start on the 50 and 40-yard line going in.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck against you, Langston, next week.
Thanks, sir.
We will now go to speak with Grambling State head coach Broderick Fobbs. This past weekend, Grambling State fell to Louisiana Tech by a score of 20-14 there in Ruston. And we will now go to Coach Fobbs. Do we have Coach Fobbs on the line?
I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. If you could please give us an opening statement about your team's last outing at Louisiana Tech.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a good environment, this past weekend, to play still here in Lincoln Parish, and had a lot of fan support on both sides. Quality football team. Coach Holtz does an awesome job of not only, recruiting really good players, but getting them coached up. I thought, came out a little slow, but I thought that, we kind of finished strong in the second half and was able to really, create an opportunity where we had a chance to win the ball game. But at the end of the day, we've got to do a better job of putting points on the board once we get inside the green zone. But then also, we've got to make sure that, we stay away from making those key mistakes at key moments that, causes those opportunities to go the other way. So, it was good to play hard and get a lot of guys involved, a lot of young kids playing. But, when you have a chance to win the ball game, you got to take advantage of it, and we did.
Coach, when you look at the game, obviously they put up 20 points in the first half, but you guys shut them out in the second half of play. What was the biggest factor in the adjustments that y'all made to stop them in the second half there?
Well, I thought, we kind of caught up to the speed of the game, and, we kind of started putting some pressure on their quarterback, and it kind of created some uncomfortable situations for him and mixing up some coverages and just things that got a little bit different for him and created some indecision on his part. And then offensively we did a really good job of moving the ball and playing keep away and getting first downs, in order to keep them off the field, So when we ran, 92 plays, they only ran like 65 plays. So it was kind of a tale of two halves, First quarter, I thought we did well and played well. Second quarter was kind of atrocious. And then the third and fourth quarters, I thought we kind of had the game, in our direction. I think, the injury to one of our players, that major injury, kind of put us on our heels in the second quarter, and it kind of took a little time to regroup. And in my opinion, if that doesn't happen, it's a different ball game.
Thank you, Coach. With that, we will now open it up for questions for Coach Fobbs with Grambling State.
Coach Fobbs, Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. How are you, sir?
Hey, Ken. How are you doing?
Good. What, if any, update can you give us on Dan Fields, who was injured in that game Saturday?
He's out for the season. He actually dislocated his knee joint area. We don't actually know the extent of the ligament damage as of yet, because they were so concerned about the artery, the major artery that was damaged. So they had to graft a vein from his left groin and apply that to the damaged artery area to make sure that the blood was flowing properly and that he was good to go. There was a little bit of thought that he could possibly have lost his leg, but he didn't. So once all of that is flowing well, and he does have a pulse in that leg now, then they'll go back in and assess the damages to the ligaments to repair those after and make sure that everything else is going well.
And now that you've indicated that he's out for the season, who will be the backup, and what impact will his absence have for your defense?
It's a huge impact, but we have several guys, that are playing that did not play in that particular game that will be available for us next week. He was a senior, but he still has another year of eligibility left. Being that he never redshirted, this would basically be a redshirt year for him. It's just a matter of how strong he can come back with that leg. So, but we have a number of guys that will be in there playing for us.
And finally, Coach, let me ask, with respect to the start time, that 2:30 start time, and knowing it's preparing for the game ahead of time, how do you think your players did in adjusting to that heat? I think it was something like 102 degrees, and I'm guessing it was much warmer on the field. How did your players respond in preparation to preparing in those conditions?
Well, it was 120 degrees on the surface, on a turf surface, and I thought our kids, did extremely well. I mean, when you look at, the fact that, we don't have as many resources as some of those other programs, our kids were healthy. I think we had maybe one or two guys that maybe had a slight cramp, but nothing really major where they had to lay on the field for a long, extended time. But if you looked on the other side, they had guys, throwing up and cramping up. And so I thought, our strength staff did an awesome job of making sure that our guys were in shape and ready to go for this season. But then also our training staff did a really good job of hydrating and making sure that our guys had the right things in their system. So I thought we did rather well. When you really look at it, it was so hot out there, there was really nobody left but the two teams. And when we got down to the fourth quarter, but I thought our guys handled it extremely well and handled the situation extremely well that happened. And, mentally tough guys, and that's all you can ask for.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you.
Coach Bob's Ty Miller from the Power News and Sports Radio Network. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ty.
Coach, is Dan Fields' injury in any way similar to the one suffered by Jalen Smith of the Cowboys when he was at Notre Dame?
I don't actually know just yet because they haven't been able to share with us any ligament damage. Jalen Smith kind of tore up everything in his knee. We don't know that just yet. It looked really bad, but it was more of a dislocation than anything else that made it look bad, So we're just kind of waiting to see, what type of ligament damage he actually sustained before I can answer that particular question.
And, of course, another most important thing, like you mentioned earlier, is that there was no need for any type of amputation. Has there been any thought given to whether it's an injury where he may in the future be able to restart his career?
We don't know the answer to that yet. I think he will, but we don't have the answer to that. The only thing that we were up there till 4:00 in the morning in Shreveport, and everything was, the whole focus was, the vascular situation, making sure that he has blood flow and all of that. It wasn't even, there was no thought about ligaments. It was all about making sure we can, have blood flow through the leg all the way to the foot and all of that. And that was a success. So they'll go back in and assess that after everything calms down a little bit and proper blood flow is flowing through.
How have your players reacted to losing a teammate with an injury like that and going forward? What are their thoughts on just him, period?
Well, I think we took a shot, early in the second quarter, and our kids kind of, it was kind of put us on our heels a little bit, stumbled a little bit, and it was tough for all of us, not just the players. It was tough for the coaches as well. And not just per se about the injury, because as coaches, we always see that and experience injuries, but just the way it looked and the gruesome way that it looked, and I mean, just out in front of everybody and just seeing it, it was very, very tough. for all of us, and it kind of put us on our heels a little bit, and I think that's when they kind of went up, and scored a couple of touchdowns on us. It was during that time period, but our kids did a really good job of regrouping and shaking back, in the third quarter, and really started to play Grambling Tiger football. Even though we didn't win the game, we felt we should have won the game. And at the end of the day, that's why it's a 4-quarter game. You have to play all quarters well, and we played 3 of the 4 well.
But you get the break this week at about the same time you got it last season. Your thoughts on preparing for a heavy, dose of tough SWAC games coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been that way. I've been saying that for years since I've been here. This league, in my opinion, has the greatest coaches in college football, and I will go to my grave saying that. And the reason why I say that is because you're talking about quality coaches that understand how to teach the game in all 3 phases. But then also the thing that we have to deal with that others don't have to deal with the amount of support financially that, all of our programs get. It's totally different. You can take any coach from, a Power 5 institution and bring them here and they'll drown. But the resolve and the mental fortitude and the toughness that all these coaches have, but then also all of the players have, go through what we go through and experience. I think that speaks volumes for, how talented these coaches and players are. And, it's just one of those situations. I knew it wouldn't be long. Everybody's extremely competitive, and everybody has good players. And I wouldn't have it any other way because I think it brings the best out of you as a player and coach.
Thank you, Coach Fobbs.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. How are you this morning?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Look, Coach, you just made a very good point, and I know you're not playing for more victories, but the mental toughness that your team showed to deal with the adversities in the first half, it was almost like watching a young boy turn into a young man from outside looking in. Is that how you and your coaching staff are looking at how you guys rebounded through last Saturday's performance?
Well, I mean, I guess you can say it from your perspective. That would be a way to look at it. But our kids deal with stuff every day. You know what I mean? The things that our kids have had to overcome in the years that I've been at Grambling State University. You're either gonna break, quit, or come out a tough son of a gun. And our coaches and players have basically taken the mindset that we're going to deal with whatever happens and we're going to come out and be tough, and that's just the way, the way our kids are kind of, built, I mean, we're in the middle of preparation on Wednesday and the whole campus power cuts off and we're trying to, look at film and get prepared to play an opponent, and our kids go out and have one of the best practices that they've had. They just have so much mental fortitude to deal with whatever situation or issues that we have, and they just overcome it. And I think that right there shows, how tough and how great not just our program is, but several other programs in our league that have to deal with the same type of things.
Okay, Coach, my final question. With the advantage being taken over with the transfer portal, and some of these guys are realizing that there is a quality brand of ball played in our conference in particular, do you see in the near future where instead of these young men coming back tethered and worn, that they'll stay close to home and help maintain quality that we've always known that we've had in this conference?
Well, I think that is a possibility. But I also think that our programs have to make it comfortable for them to want to come here. I think that's of importance as well. I think if the gap is narrowed some, and some of the things that these big time athletes are getting, if we can address not all of their needs, but maybe a couple of them, then I think you'll see that happen. I really do, because what they get at our institutions, is really amazing, when it comes to, feeling at home, feeling a part of something, but then also, being able to really relax and do what you came to college to do, which is, get an education and then play really good football.
Okay, thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck, and enjoy your week off.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, just starting over again. One more comment from you on Fields. Talk about the perspective that injury provided, as we often find out with the game and with just real life itself.
It's funny you say that. I think at the time, no one really looked at it as he could possibly, lose his leg or anything like that. It was just, mainly, hey, it's a gruesome injury, but after the fact, I think, once we got to the hospital and they made sure that they did the surgery properly, it kind of puts some things in perspective the right way. The game is a game, and it's very, very small and minute when you look at the grand scheme of things, especially in the world and everything else that we have to deal with. But the thing that I'm impressed with him. His mental fortitude, his toughness, his whole mindset was, hey, is everybody okay? And I said, man, everybody's worried about you. So. But the kids are close, and they're a close-knit group, and our coaching staff has done a really good job of creating those different things in order to make them spend time with each other and become close. And I think our kids responded as a result of it, and that's what you want them to do is to draw together and pull together in adverse situations, and then continue to come out fighting.
We now go to Jackson State, where the Tigers dropped a 37-14 decision to South Alabama in Mobile, and we will now be joined by Coach Hendrick. Do we have Coach Hendrick on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Coach, good morning to you, and thank you for taking some time to join us. If you would, please, Coach, give us an opening statement about your game last week at South Alabama.
Well, we went to a game obviously playing up. It was a really good football game all the way into the third quarter when we had a couple breakdowns and allowed them to move the ball on us and score on us. I had a couple injuries, lost the guys during the game that I thought would have helped us be a little bit better. But just all in all, the thing I appreciate about the game is how our kids played hard for 4 quarters, and the improvement that we've shown as a football team on both sides of the ball. And as we're going forward, I think that'll be invaluable for us.
Coach, just looking at the statistics from the game, they were able to have some success via the ground game, obviously with the 400 yards. What did you see that what did you pinpoint that was going on for them to be able to get their ground?
More of us not doing what we're supposed to do, closing things out, squeezing. We played without one of our best defensive linemen in the game, and so we played with some guy too that was a little younger. And vertical holes, it seems, in the defense by playing on 2 different levels and not squeezing and closing things out will allow people to run the ball on you. And that's something that we'll get cleaned up and make sure that we'll have better going forward.
Coach Hendrick, if you would, could you please just preview, talk a little bit about your upcoming opponent, Tennessee State?
Well, Tennessee State is a big game for us. It's one of those rivalry games we've been playing, I believe, since 1990. And Tennessee State has had the upper hand over the past 6 or 7 years. And, they're a good football team. They've got a really dynamic receiver in number 3. And then, the quarterback is playing well for them, throwing the ball around. They got a running back that I think is really dynamic and good. Their offensive line is solid. Defensively, they got some guys, a transfer guy, too, who are really good football players up front. So it'll be a big test for us in a rivalry game that, has a lot
has a lot of pageantry surrounding it. A lot of people show up there. The atmosphere is going to be great. We just need to go and play our solid football game, protect the football, and make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and we play the game as close to the vest as we possibly can.
Coach Hendrick, this is Michael Wallace up in Memphis at Grind City Media. Hopefully everything's going well with you. I wanted to ask you, do you see any similarities between the two programs, your guys and Tennessee State, both coming off of FBS games last week, having your chances in there to be really, really competitive, both sort of finding your way at the quarterback position because of some changes that have happened. Do you see any similarities, or have you not had a chance to really look at them as much as of yet?
I'm just watching them on film. The only thing I know about them is what I see on film. I couldn't tell you about their inner workings and their personnel personally. In terms of similarities, I mean, we're both HBCUs. We play each other annually, and both of us trying to be the best we can be as football teams.
And to follow up on that, how big of a stage is this for both of you guys to re-up your contracts to play in the Southern Heritage Classic? Obviously, Memphis and Tennessee is a big recruiting base here. What does this game mean for your program in particular to have an opportunity to come back here year after year?
Well, it's a big game for us. We recruit up in the northern Mississippi area heavily, obviously, and also into Memphis and into that part of Tennessee. It's a big time atmosphere. It's when you go to college football, you want to play in games where the stands are almost full, and you've got the bands going and you've got the crowds outside, and people are excited about watching you play. So it's a big time atmosphere for us, and also it's big time for us in that we get a chance to play in front of some kids that we'd like to come to Jackson State.
Thank you, Coach.
Hey, Coach Hendrick, Ty Miller from the Power News and Sports Radio Network. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Coach, with the game being canceled due to the hurricane last season, how big of an impact does it make to have the game scheduled to be played this year? Right now, everything's all go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was looking forward to the game last year, and we didn't get a chance to play in it, and that was very disappointing. And, just to have an opportunity to renew the rivalry and to renew the chance to play against Tennessee State is big for us. And it's a good measuring stick because Coach Reed has a good program up there with a bunch of good players. And it's a good measuring stick as we go forward and get prepared to play in the conference, get ready to play against people that we have down here in our conference. So we're looking forward to the contest.
Is there added anticipation at your institution due to the fact that it wasn't played last season?
Yeah, we like to play. Tennessee State has kind of had their way with Jackson State over the past 7 years. Matter of fact, since 2003, Tennessee State has kind of dominated the rivalry, and it really doesn't become a rivalry until the other team wins. So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to do that this weekend, and we'll go out and play the game hard. And we're looking forward to going and playing against them.
Can you talk about some of the positives you've seen from your team over the first couple of weeks?
Well, we're coming together. We're beginning to get better and become closer together as a family. The culture that we're trying to develop here, we're beginning to see things established. We're beginning to see our leadership begin to rise up and be leaders. And we're seeing our players getting better fundamentally. That's the key in my mind's eyes, that every time we go out, every time we practice, that we get better fundamentally, and every time we play a little bit better fundamentally, and we get closer together as a football team. Things are beginning to gel for us, and I'm looking for us as we go forward to get better and better, more competitive on both sides of the football.
Coach, did your team make that jump that coaches talk about from week 1 to week 2?
I think we were better in week 2. Like I said earlier, we played without some guys and an injury or two that I think affected us, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I see us getting better. I see our offensive line gelling. Those guys are really playing well together. I see us completing balls. Our completion percentage was fine. We were able to run the ball against South Alabama, playing up. And defensively, like I said earlier, we've got to shore up the things that affected us in the run game, and things that affected us, we can get fixed.
If we couldn't get it fixed, I'd be worried. But the things that affected us in that run game, I believe we can fix them. And so that's what we're going about doing right now. So, I saw some improvement in our football team, a little improvement in our kicking game. And so I'm looking forward to watching how we perform this weekend.
How well do you know Rod Reed, and your thoughts on the success he's had with those Tigers?
I don't know him very well at all. He's done a good job with that program. They've won some games. They've been competitive in their league. And, I know a couple guys on staff because I've worked with them. But in terms of knowing him, I don't know very well.
Okay, thank you,
Coach. If I may jump back in.
Yeah.
Coach, if I may jump back in, this is Mike Wallace up in Memphis again. Just looking at your schedule, you guys have one of the most unique schedules in the nation when you look at, you're playing the first month basically on the road. How do you sort of balance the opportunity of some of these games playing in NFL markets and big-time FBS type of opportunities with actually trying to find your way and keeping these guys engaged and not being overwhelmed by not having a home game for the first month?
Well, we don't prepare any differently any week, whether we're home or away. And what we try to do is keep our guys' eye on the ball because every week we line up. It's a new contest. It's a new opponent. And it doesn't matter whether you're home or you're away. You got to play well in order to beat people. And so what we do is we try to prepare every week like we're going to go into that stadium, and it's our stadium. And that's what we deal with them about. We always talk about when we come on the field, no matter where we are, we're going to come on the field like we're at home, and it's our place to play. And that's our mindset when we're going into every game that we play.
All right. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Coach, just one more question from me. I did notice during pregame, Robert Brazile, NFL Hall of Famer, obviously Jackson State legend, had an opportunity to address your ball club. What are some of the things that he shared with them, and if you're at liberty to tell us?
Well, he basically talked about putting on the blue and white and what putting on the blue and white meant, and being a part of Jackson State and about his time at Jackson State and how he felt about being a guy that came from Jackson State and his love for university, basically, is what he talked about. And obviously his support for our football team and how he's one of our biggest fans. So those are things he covered with our team.
Gotcha. And, Coach, one last question. We'll let you go. We know you have a busy week. We did see some video of the Tiger mascot, Sonny. Looks like you caught up with him for some discipline. How did you feel like his first few days of discipline for that penalty went?
I thought it went well. He was remorseful about it. He and I have had a great conversation about it. And I told him when I first saw him, I didn't see him until a few days after. I told him I'd calm down and we wouldn't beat him up as bad as it was if it was Sunday. It was Monday rather than it was Wednesday when I saw him. So I think he's remorseful about doing it, and I think the discipline went pretty good for him.
We will now go to the Delta, and it'll be in Mississippi, where the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils dropped a heartbreaker in Beaumont, Texas at Lamar, falling by a score of 23-20 in overtime. With that, we will now be joined by head coach Vincent Dancy. Do we have Coach Dancy on the line?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding. Good morning to you, Coach. Coach, if you would please open us up with a statement about your team's last outing against Lamar.
I thought we played a quality football team. Coach Schultz had done a great job with that program in the past 7 years to get them to, playoff contenders. I thought we went into the game well prepared with, on both sides, offensively, defensively, and had good game plans. I thought we executed for the most part until the fourth quarter. 2 minutes left, we had a major breakdown. Defensively, also got to go ahead, got to win those games. Can't leave it in the officials' hand on 4th and 4 play. Clearly, it was a bang play. The referee threw the flag. They come together and pick it up. That could have sealed the deals for us, but can't leave it in the refs' hands. Just got to play a complete 4-quarter game. But encouraged at what I've seen, thus far from my guys, man. They play hard. They're well coached, well disciplined team. not a lot of penalties, so just hat goes off to Lamar. They won the game, and we didn't.
Coach, obviously on the call this week, we did get an opportunity to announce that Tracy Tompkins was the Defensive Player of the Week for the conference. 15 tackles, 13 solos, and 2 assists. Really just all over the field. Touch a little bit about the play of Mr. Tompkins against Lamar.
Oh, man, just an amazing kid, man. He's been with me since I've been at Valley. Before I was the head coach, he's been a 4-year starter from Carroll City, Miami. An outstanding young man, not only on the field but off the field. Complete football player, tough, hard-nosed kid. I think the second play of the game, he busted his eye wide open, so his face was full of blood the whole game. But man, those are the type of young men that we love that we love here at Mississippi Valley, man. A kid that just love the game, and not only the game but love his teammates. He's the rock of the team, as you know. Just a great kid, man. That's gonna bring his best week in and week out.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good, Mike.
All right. Look, on that last series before the overtime, you got 3 minutes and some change left. You had 2 fourth down conversions. One was a 4th and 6. I think the other was 4th and 9. Can you recap what was going on defensively? Were the guys wearing down, or it was a physical, tough game? But could you recap what was going on that last series?
Man, I just thought, the last play, like I said, it was a 4th and 6 conversion. They ran a slant with a swing route with the back, and clearly, the ball was thrown forward. The receiver ran directly at the linebacker. Picked the guy. Just knocked him out. Clearly knocked him out. And we got a flag earlier in the game for that same situation. And turn back the clock. They do the same play, and the referee throws the flag, but they come together and pick the flag up. So, they could have ended the game right there. But like I said, we just got to finish. We had them on third and 20 before that. So they turned the 3rd and 20 conversion into a 4th and 6. So we can't put ourselves in those situations. And also the same play, they ran it again on 4th down, 4th and 8. The same pick play. But man, we just got to do better. I thought our guys fought hard. They played hard. All the way until it got to those plays in the fourth quarter, man. I thought we was the better team that day. And we just got to finish, man. We have to finish those games. We have to win those tough games.
Absolutely, and I know this is a stinger, and you made mention last week that you're not playing for more victories. But these past 2 performances, at least from outside looking in, it looks like that Valley is making a statement. It's not the same old Valley that people are accustomed to. What's the rallying cry for you and your team as you move forward right now?
Just continue to get better. We got a bye week. Had a few neck and neck injuries, Saturday, so we get a chance to heal and get right back to the drawing board. Go back to the basics, fundamentals, and techniques. Have a jump on Bethune this week. With them having a game this week, so we're able to, get on them early and have 2 weeks of preparation before those guys get here. But man, just continuing to play Delta Devil football, and that's tough, hard-nosed football, and that's how we're going to continue to play. That's my mindset. That's the kid's mindset. That's the coach's mindset. And we're going to be physical. I don't care who we play. The name doesn't matter who we play. We just have to prepare our guys for who we're going to play. But, just continue, man. I think I love this group I have. Great team. I have a great team, great football team. We just got to continue to improve in 3 phases of the game. Special teams, we gave us some big returns, and I thought if we could have stopped some of those big returns, which gave them good field position, it would have put us in better shape to even close out the game. So we got a lot of work to improve on, but am I encouraged? Of course I'm encouraged by what I see, especially from the new guys, the younger guys, the way they step up, big-time situations, man. They play good football, and that's what you like to see. They play good, clean football, not a lot of penalties, not a lot of personal fouls, and we just go out and play the game the right way, and that's all I ask them to do week in and week out.
Well, Coach, stay on the grind, and good luck to you on your next opponent.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Coach, you talked a little bit about the physicality of your ball club, and one of the things in watching the game on ESPN Plus that I noticed was that you guys were able to get a lot of pressure on them up front with your front four of your linemen. Can you dive in a little bit, just talk a little bit about what you saw from your big guys up front?
Oh man, 2 weeks straight. I don't look at a lot of predictions, and I don't care about a lot of the analysts and how they predict the games. But I tell you what, for 2 weeks straight, we've always been picked last, and that's the way we play. That's the chip we have on our shoulder. But for 2 weeks straight, man, I think our defensive line has been the best on the field, man. Those guys, man, we got 8 guys. We got 8 solid guys that I think that can play, and they play at a high level, and probably can play in any conference that in this any FCS conference. I think our guys can play in, and man, they just step up to the challenge. They're tough. They hard-nosed players. They can rush the quarterback. They can stop the run. They're big. They're physical. That's the way they play. They got a mentality that like no other, man, and it's fun to be around them, man. They're hungry for more. So love what I'm seeing out that group. Made a lot of mistakes up front as well. So I mean, we got a lot of improvement to do. We got a lot of things to work on. We're trust me, we're far from being where we want to be. So those guys know it, and they're gonna continue to stay hungry and get better. Week in and week out, not only on the field, but in the weight room as well.
Currently taking questions for Coach Dancy with Mississippi Valley State. If we could, we will actually jump forward so that we can keep our time. I know time is precious for everyone, so we will go to Southern University to speak with Coach Odoms. Do we have Coach Odoms on the line?
Coach Odoms here.
Coach Odoms, thank you so much, sir, for working with us here as we adjust our schedule. Southern Jaguars played out of conference last week at Memphis, losing a 55-24 decision. Coach Odoms, if you could please give us an opening statement about your team's outing last week at Memphis.
I'll tell you, you saw the improvement. We started the football game out the way you would like, on the road, good environment. We get the kickoff, our offense go out there, and we take it right down the field, 7-0 Jags, and played really well in the first half. They blocked the punt, and that was really the difference in the first half. We went to halftime with a deficit, but our team, they competed, and our players played really, really well. And then you start seeing in the second half, you see the difference in the depth. They came out in the second half, and their 2s and 3s got a chance to play in that fourth quarter, but they had their starters in, because the game really didn't get out of hand until about the middle of that fourth quarter, and then we started playing a lot of young guys in the fourth quarter, and just wanted to give them a chance to get in the game, get some experience, and hopefully that help us down the road. But I really thought our team got better from game 1 to game 2. Game 1, we turned the ball over 5 times. Game 2, no turnovers. Penalties, we had 9 penalties, I think, game 1. Game 2, I think we had 5 penalties for like 26 yards. And that's what we're used to. That's how we want to play, and that's what we told our players. We'll give ourselves a chance to win football games if we can play clean football like that and play with great effort. And I thought our effort was outstanding. Our starting quarterback didn't play well game 1. You saw the growth in game 2. And that's what it's all about. We're going to have some bad days. We just can't have bad games. And his first game was a bad game. He rebounded from it, and he showed why he's a candidate for probably player of the year in our conference. He's as advertised, and when he's playing well, our offense is tough to stop. And defensively, just some third downs. They did a great job on third down. If we can just get off the field on third down, we know we're going to have a good football team. And hopefully this week we can get a little success going and really start getting some confidence, because our players really believe they're in a good frame of mind
we're 0-2, but we know we gave one game away, and we played much better against what I think is one of the better teams in football, and that's Memphis.
Coach, one of the things that stood out to me watching the game was the athleticism on your team, and you've got some guys out there on the edges that can really go up and get the ball. If you could just touch a little bit about what you feel like having those kind of athletes on your team, what type of threat that poses to your opponents.
Well, it really makes you have to defend sideline to sideline because we have two or three or four very good outside receivers. And our offense is unique. We're not traditional. You got a defensive coordinator got to prepare for a lot, and our offense challenges. We go against those guys, every day, and it's always something. And I really think those receivers help us in the passing game. But everybody knows if you're going to beat the Jags, you're going to have to stop the run, and it's hard to do that when we got playmakers on the outside that can go over the top and make plays. They do a great job of getting those guys in position to make plays, and those guys do a great job of making those plays.
Coach, we talked a little bit about what you wanted to see last week out of the progression at the quarterback position. If you could just touch a little bit about what you saw from your quarterback position this past game.
The total command, ball security, good decision, managing of the game. And I thought in those areas he did a good job. And that's to me the growth. That's what we wanted to see. We know what kind of talent he possesses, but the biggest thing is mentally being locked in. And he was locked in. He had a great week of preparation, and it showed on Saturday. If he can continue to prepare that way, then it's going to be a special season for him because he's as talented as they come. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He went the right places, and that's what it's all about, throwing the ball on time and making the right reads in the run game. And when he plays like that, I'm telling you, our offense can be special, and it starts with him. And he knows that. And his job is to make sure he gets prepared every week and continue to build on the confidence that he received from the Memphis game.
Coach, we talked a little bit about structure of scheduling for the different teams in the conference. And obviously with your schedule, first two out the gate on the road, you come home this week to host Edward Waters, and then you got two more road games. What will it mean just for your team to get, some home cooking, if you want to call it, and get an opportunity to play in front of your fans and to play in front of your home crowd this weekend?
Well, we're going to play in two tough environments. I think but we're accustomed to playing in great environments. Our conference does an outstanding job with their fan bases, so we know anytime we go on the road, we're going to play in front of, good crowds at other opponents' homes. So it's just, we got to play well on the road. It's going to be a long season, and we got a lot of road games. So starting out on the road, we get a chance to come home, which I think has been a blessing for us since we've installed the turf here. And since I've been the head coach here, our home record is pretty good. Our guys really do a great job of defending the turf. I think we're 12-1 or something like that since we've installed it. And I think it's good for our guys. And if our guys can continue to have the right mindset, and with us, it's not about our opponents. We have an expectation and a standard that we challenge our guys to play at regardless who we play. And if they do that, whether we're at home or away, we think we have a chance to win football games. But being at home in front of Jaguar Nation, it's our season opener, Pete Richardson Classic. We can get 28-5 in here, but we won't turn anybody away. So we need to sell it out. We need our fans in the stands because we understand that helps our program and helps the other athletic programs. So we need them here, and hopefully we have a great environment come Saturday.
Currently taking questions from Coach Odoms from Southern University.
Hey, Coach. It's Jim Klein-Peter with The Advocate.
My man, Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Hey, I just wanted to see how y'all came out physically. I know y'all had some guys that had to take IVs, but how were y'all physically coming out of that Memphis game?
Not too bad. I know the guy, T.J. Bedford is a guy that's, I think, ankle a little bit, but should be ready to go by Saturday.
and he's the only one that's questionable right now. But should get that wrapped up and ready to go. We'll give him a little break on it early in the week and see how he feels once we get to Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay, I wanted to ask about two more players and their status. Glenn Brown, is he going to be available? And what about Tyron Nash?
Nash will be back this week. We should get Nash back. Don't know about Brown. Hopefully we can get him back this week. If not this week, hopefully next week. But I don't know. That's really day by day. And as they give me an update, Jim, I'll be more than glad to give you one. But far as I know right now, he's still out. But hopefully some things change between now and Saturday.
We will now go back to Texas and the Prairie View A&M Panthers, where the Panthers dropped a 37-17 decision at the University of Houston, and we will be joined by Prairie View A&M head coach Eric Dooley. Do we have Coach Dooley on the call?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Hey, thank you, Coach, for joining us. Thank you so much. And, Coach, if you would, please open us up with a statement about your team's last outing at U of H.
Well, we know we're going into a tough environment, a pretty good football team, one that we know we was going to have some challenges. But, I take my hat off to I like what my team, the way my team responded, the way they fought for 60 minutes. They fought for 60 minutes. Unfortunately, we came up short, but I thought they played hard. And the biggest thing I was able to come out of that game, had a lot of healthy bodies. So I feel real good about what we have going into this week's contest.
Coach, just looking at the portions of the game that I was able to watch, and then also just looking at the final stats at the end of the game, you guys played stellar defense, obviously, in the second half, holding them just to a field goal. What would you say was the biggest difference in between how you played defensively in the first half and what you were able to do against them in the second half?
I think we were able to settle down and figure out what they were trying to do to us. We knew that they had a dynamic quarterback that can run and pass, so we was trying to protect that as well. But I thought the defense settled down and made a great adjustment and gave us the opportunity to be within the ball game.
Good morning, Coach Dooley. This is Mike Prince with Open Mike. How are you this afternoon, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing real good. Before I get started, is there a status update on Tristan Wallace? How is he doing today?
Oh, he's good. He had a chance to run around on yesterday, so he's feeling fine.
Okay, and notice, Coach, that the defensive secondary had been changed up. Were there some injuries in the defensive backfield, or just changing up some things, trying to experiment and find out along the way?
Well, I wouldn't say more or less experimenting, just some things, just trying to make sure we're getting the right chemistry together, and I think those guys are playing well together. But we play a lot of people, so we had a lot of different matches that we can put in there that we feel give us a great opportunity to win and be successful.
Okay. Your season home opener up against Nichols this weekend. What are going to be some of the keys for victory, and what do you expect Nichols to try to force their will on you this week?
Well, we're facing a good football team. They are ranked in the top 5, top 10 in the FCS. So we know we got our challenges ahead of us. But, the biggest thing that when you take a look at Nichols, they run the football. You're going to have to be able to shut down their run. And they play extremely physical defense. They get 11 hats to the football. So, we understand we got a chance to watch their tape and see what they bring to the table. They have a dynamic running game. They have 2 good running backs that are coming back. They have a quarterback that's one of the top quarterbacks in their conference. So the challenges are there, and they had a couple of transfers to come in to help build depth on their football team. So we know the things that we expect, and we just got to go out and execute and play well.
Absolutely. And when you talk about executing, Coach, there was a kick or a punt return that was called back due to a penalty, probably one unnecessary penalty because of the distance it was from actually play involved. What are you doing to reinforce the guys to be, as they say, heads up on and off the field?
Well, we're coaching those little small detailed things because that's the discipline side of it that you got to get corrected when you play those type of teams. So you got to make sure that you are clicking on all cylinders, and we do understand that was something that that was misfortune that cost us a touchdown. But we got those things corrected on yesterday, and we feel good about what we have going into this game plan.
Okay. Okay, and my final question, Coach, your quarterback play, is it where you are assessed it at this point of the season, or is there still work to be done?
No, we knew going into this game here, we felt we had an opportunity to get all three of our quarterbacks the opportunity to play. Of course, we're going in to try to win, but we just felt the timing was right. We felt we needed a spark, so that's why we brought in another quarterback to do some things and see how that would make us adjust. And then also we just had the opportunity to bring in the other guy, too, to see how he would respond in this type of atmosphere. But the quarterback position is solid. I feel good with any one of those guys being at the helm of it, so we feel real good about our quarterback play.
All right, Coach. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Prairie View A&M head coach Eric Dooley. Coach, last question for me. One of the things that I did notice in the game, and you touched on your different combinations in the secondary, but I did notice that you guys did limit them substantially in the passing game. I think they finished with 144 yards. From that unit in particular, what are some of the positives that you were able to take away from that game?
Well, I thought those guys competed on a high level. They have some real good receivers returning back, and like I said, once again, they have a dynamic quarterback. So we know the challenges was going to be there, but those guys stepped up and made the plays that we expected them to make. So, give us a lot of. We're very encouraged about that situation, knowing that we were facing a team that spreads out and get the ball into a lot of different receiver hands. So we're able to challenge those guys and come up on, I feel, a good end of it. It's never good because we didn't win the game. That's the biggest stat right there. But I thought our kids competed at a high level and played for 60 minutes.
We now go to Texas Southern, where the Tigers dropped a 63-44 decision at Incarnate Word, and we were joined by head coach McKinney. Coach, good morning to you, and if you could please give us an opening statement about your team's outing last week against Incarnate Word.
Good morning. So we went out and competed really well against a quality opponent. If that wasn't for some simple mistakes, we had 6 drop balls. We didn't tackle, and we didn't wrap up and tackle. We didn't pursue the ball. We gave up, once again, back-to-back weeks, gave up too many big plays. But I feel like our team's improving, and if we can just cut down on some simple mistakes and some alignment errors, I think we'll be right where we need to be.
Coach, going on the offensive side of the ball, DeAndre Johnson, 20 for 30, 331 yards, 3 touchdowns with a long of 87 yards. What type of progression did you feel like you saw from him between your season opener and this most recent game?
Yeah, we saw a lot of improvement from week 1 to week 2, which we expected that. He's getting a little bit more comfortable with what we're asking him to do in our pass game. And then we protected him probably a little bit better this week than we did in the opening week.
Thank you, Coach. With that, we will now open it up for questions for Texas Southern head coach McKinney. Coach, defensively, your team had some opportunities, and obviously you were able to get some pressure with some sacks there by Gerald Taylor and Daigle. Outside of that, what are you seeing or pinpointing you and your coaching staff of areas that you feel like you'll need to make significant improvement so that you can, like you said earlier in the call, limit the points given up?
So there are 2 main issues that I feel like we have right now, and this is alignment, which is understanding the scheme, and tackling. And tackling is just something that we physically got to be able to get better at. Alignment, that's on us as coaches. We got to get our guys lined up properly. We can't afford to have 2 guys going into the same gap. But once our guys get to the point of attack, get to the football, we got to be able to bring down the ball carriers.
Thank you, Coach. And if you would, Coach, just preview for us your upcoming opponent in Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah, this week we go to UL Lafayette, which is a tough opponent out of the Sun Belt. We feel like we match up pretty good with them from an offense. Our offense going against their defense. They're a solid program. You know, it's going to be really hard for us to go in there and get a win, but our guys are up to the challenge. And what we're looking forward to the most is just improvement from week 2 to week 3. You know, we feel like going into this game, it'll give us a good measure of what kind of team we have going against a solid opponent.
Currently taking questions for Texas Southern head coach McKinney. And, Coach, last 2 questions from me. Trendavian Dixon, 8 catches, 221 yards with 2 touchdowns. You know, we've talked about his explosiveness and his playmaking ability at the wide receiver position. You know, whenever he touches the ball, you know, he's one of those guys you say you never know he could go the distance with it. Can you just touch a little bit about his play and what he brings to your offense?
You know, he had a tremendous game for us. He's done the things that we felt like, you know, he has the ability to do. He stretches the field. He's a guy who can catch a quick, short route and take it the distance. He takes the top off the defense by running vertically. He's just someone who we depend on in our vertical pass game as well as our quick game, and it was good to see him do the things that he did on the other day. And it'll open up some more opportunities for other guys within our offense.
Hey, Coach, we talk a little bit about opening up other opportunities for guys in your offense. Ladarius Owens, 14 carries for 94 yards, just coming up shy for breaking 100 yards on the day, and he did have the 2 touchdowns. In your running game, what did you see from him?
Ladarius is only scratching the surface of his abilities. You know, he had 95 yards rushing in the first week, 94 in the second week. And we're going to lean on him. And he's a really talented kid. He's just young, and he has to understand some other things about his position. But we feel really comfortable with him when he has the ball in his hands, and he's a special talent.
Coach, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. How are you today, sir?
Good. How's it going, Mike?
All right, look, Coach, sometimes it's old saying that sometimes a good defense is a strong offense, and what you're saying you like in your offensive matchups against your opponent's defensive matchup. Are there some things that you're looking at from an offensive coach's perspective that you can do that could help aid your defense for that fourth quarter second win action in the near future?
For our defense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just think, you know, we can aid our guys by playing more people. I believe we're wearing our guys down. We're playing way too many plays within our front seven. We got to get some other guys to step up so we can give those guys a breather throughout the game and not have such a major drop-off. We can keep our front group of guys, our first group of guys, fresh going into the fourth quarter. We feel like we'll have a better opportunity.
Okay, so the question now would just be more of a depth issue than the actual physical play of your guys.
Well, it becomes a depth issue, but as coaches, we gotta play those younger guys that's on our depth chart and see what they can do in those situations. We're not giving our guys an opportunity at the moment to show us that they can't do it. We're playing our first defense. In my opinion, we're playing them way too many reps.
Okay. Well, good luck in Louisiana this week, Coach, and thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Coach McKinney, we appreciate you taking some time to jump on with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we will now end our call, and we, as always, appreciate all of our media members for taking some time to join in and ask questions from our coaches, and we look forward to the call next week, September 16th, starting at 10 o'clock. Thank you.